Good morning and welcome to Mega News at 6 on Mega TV, live and direct from our studios, 10th Avenue Extension, Greater Estate, Nungwa Adogono. The news is also live on all our social media platforms on MBN 360. And I'm Wendy Latte, the news headlines.
GAF escort convoy attacked in Binduru, 3 civilians killed. In business, Ghana must strengthen local production ahead of IMF exit, AGI CEO. And on the international front, ECOWAS condemns Mali attacks, urges regional unity.
These and many other more stories coming up shortly. The Ghana Armed Forces has confirmed that an escort convoy protecting civilians was attacked by unknown assailants in Bindu in the Upper East region, resulting in the death of 3 civilians.
In a statement signed by Captain Veronica Adjo-Ahin of the Ghana Navy, Acting Director General of Public Relations, the military said the incident occurred on Monday, April 27, 2026, when the convoy transporting about 140 civilians from Boko to Bolgatanga came under heavy gunfire. According to the statement, the attackers opened fire multiple times on the convoy, leading to the death of 3 civilians and leaving 1 person injured. The military, however, responded and repelled the attack, killing 7 of the assailants in the process. In the process, the military successfully repelled the attack on the convoy, resulting in the death of 7 assailants, the statement said. It added that during a follow-up operation, soldiers recovered weapons and ammunition from one of the suspects who attempted to hide in a mosque. In pursuit, the military discovered and retrieved from an escape who went to a mosque a G3 automatic rifle, 2 filled magazines of 20 rounds each, and 176 rounds of additional ammunition, the statement noted. 10 other suspects have been arrested and are currently assisting with investigations. The Ghana Armed Forces cautioned the public against engaging security personnel during operations, stressing the importance of cooperation to ensure safety. The military also extended condolences to the families of the deceased and wished the injured a speedy recovery.
And away from the Binduri story, the Minister of Education, Haruna Idrisu, has directed the Ghana Tertiary Education Commission, GTEC, to immediately withdraw its letters concerning most post-retirement contracts for academic senior members of public universities.
The directive applies to letters dated September 30 and October 1, 2025. The decision follows a meeting between the Education Minister and the leadership of the University Teachers Association of Ghana, UTAG, which raised concerns over the policy communication. According to a statement signed by Hashmin Mohammed, Press Secretary to the Minister for Education, and issued on Monday, April 27, the withdrawal is intended to allow for further consultations with key stakeholders before any final decision is taken on the matter. The decision has been taken pending further consultations with relevant stakeholders to ensure that any policy direction in this regard reflects broad consensus, promotes institutional sustainability, and serves the best interest of Ghana's tertiary education sector, the statement said. The ministry added that the move is aimed at ensuring that policies affecting the higher education sector are carefully reviewed and widely agreed upon before implementation. It stressed its commitment to an inclusive and consultative approach in dealing with issues within the tertiary education space. The Ministry of Education remains committed to a transparent, inclusive, and consultative approach in addressing matters affecting the higher education landscape, the statement added.
In other stories, President John Dramani Mahama is expected to be briefed this week by the National Airline Task Force as he continues to drive efforts toward the re-establishment of Ghana's national carrier.
The briefing is expected to present a concrete roadmap for restoring Ghana's presence in the aviation sector. President Mahama said reviving a national airline would not only rekindle national pride, but also create employment opportunities for pilots, cabin crew, engineers, and other aviation professionals. He made the remarks on Monday, April 27, during a ceremony at the Accra International Airport, where he arrived to cut sword for the expansion of Gate C1 at Terminal 3 and the construction of a new concourse linking Terminals 2 and 3. This week, I'm meeting the task force I set up to work towards the re-establishment of our national airline. I'm looking forward to receiving their presentation outlining the concrete roadmap for Ghana's flag to fly proudly across Africa and in the global aviation space once again, he said.
This week also, I'm meeting the task force I set up to work towards the re-establishment of our national airline. I'm looking forward to receiving their presentation outlining the concrete roadmap for Ghana's flag to fly proudly across Africa and in the global aviation space once again. A new national airline will not only create jobs for pilots, cabin crew, engineers, and other airline staff, it will also accelerate our ambition to become the most preferred aviation hub in West Africa. We are also in the process of launching the new e-visa system. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Immigration are launching the new e-visa system, which will also facilitate travel to Ghana. You no longer need to go to a Ghana embassy to go and apply physically for a visa. You go online, you submit all your documents, and the visa will be issued directly to you.
Away from the President of Ghana, the Chief Executive Officer of the Association of Ghana Industries, AGI, Sechum Koneboa Akobua, has urged the government to proceed cautiously as Ghana prepares for the anticipated exit of the International Monetary Fund (IMF) program in the coming months.
Speaking at Channel One TV's quarterly economic outlook on Monday, April 27, 2026, he said recent macroeconomic stability and improved investor confidence must be sustained, warning that the end of the IMF program could introduce fresh uncertainties. He stressed that sustaining investor confidence after the program ends would be key to protecting economic gains. Mr. Chum Akwaboah also called for a deliberate shift towards important substitution and expanded local production, arguing that Ghana's exposure to global shocks makes the strategy necessary. He further identified access to affordable long-term financing as a major challenge facing Ghana's industrial sector, noting that existing financial institutions are not adequately structured to support medium to long-term funding needs. Citing institutions such as Exim Bank, Development Bank Ghana, and the National Investment Bank, he called for a review of their lending portfolios to ensure more support goes to the productive sector. He added that interest rates from development finance institutions should reflect broader market trends, especially following recent declines in commercial lending rates.
In other stories, the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, has condemned the terrorist attacks that struck several locations in Mali on Saturday, April 25th, urging stronger regional cooperation to combat terrorism.
This comes after Mali's defense minister was killed in an apparent suicide truck bombing at his residence near the capital Bamako. Multiple news outlets reported the death of Sadio Kamara, part of a wave of coordinated attacks by jihadist militants and separatists carried out across the country. State TV confirmed the death many hours later, saying he died of wounds received while engaging with the attackers. Reports say the head of the military junta, General Assimi Goita, was moved to a safe location after his home was targeted. In a statement, ECOWAS described the attacks as heinous and extended condolences to the families of the victims while expressing solidarity with the people of Mali. These heinous acts demonstrate once again the barbaric nature of the perpetrators who continue to threaten peace, security and stability in the West African sub-region as a whole. The statement said the regional bloc called on member states, security forces and citizens to intensify coordinated efforts against extremist violence. ECOWAS calls on all states, security forces, regional mechanisms and populations of West Africa to unite and mobilize in a coordinated effort to combat this scourge. It added, reports indicated that Mali's defense minister, Sadio Kamara, was killed in an apparent suicide truck bombing at his residence near the capital Bamako. The attack, reportedly carried out by militants linked to Al-Qaeda in the town of Kati, is also said to have claimed the lives of at least 3 of his family members. Explosions and sustained gunfire were reported across Bamako and other parts of the country as armed groups launched coordinated attacks that continued into Sunday. Mali's military said efforts to repel the attackers were ongoing, with some militants already fleeing. Clashes were also reported in Kati, home to a major military base outside the capital, as well as in Gao and the central cities of Sevari and Mopti. The latest violence underscores growing security challenges in the Sahel region, where armed groups continue to mount attacks despite ongoing military operations.
And that's all for today on the morning bulletins. But before we leave, a recap of the top stories.
GAF escort convoy attacked in Binduru, 3 civilians killed. In business, Ghana must strengthen local production ahead of IMF exit, AGI CEO. And on the international front, ECOWAS condemns Mali attacks, urges regional unity.
I am Wendy Latte. For more news, log on to MBN 360, Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok. Up next is sports. Stay tuned.